It's Alec and Pete bringing the heat. Alec and Pete, that kielbasa, bringing the heat. Alec and Pete.
All right. Yep. You heard it. Bringing the heat with Alec and Pete. We got a big week ahead of us. Pete can't make it today. So it's just me, your host today, Alec, and Pete's busy Instacarting. He had a big Instacart order, had to cancel over the podcast this week. I know he's really upset about it. If you want to know the real reason, you guys can ask him. But I got two of my good friends from Long Island, aka Strong Island. We got two Johns, two of my favorite Johns, John Cawley, John Griner. What's up, guys?
What's going on, Alec? How are you, brother?
I'm all
How
right.
you doing, Alec?
I'm okay. But so yeah, what's going, Griner? I haven't talked to you. I don't talk to you as much. I just saw Cawley this weekend. How are you doing? What's going on the island? Because you're still there right now.
To be quite honest, not too much. Just working, going for a master's in accounting right now. So my life is pretty miserable. But I don't know. It's a little weird on Long Island right now. We got some nice weather recently, but in the winter, Long Island kind of sucks.
Yeah, New York.
Long Island. Listen, as someone who's lived there for a long time, very overrated for 9 months of the year. It is warmer in Binghamton right now than it is in Long Island.
That's not normal though.
Who cares? I mean, it's all the same thing. It's cold. It's like Long Island in the winter, same as Binghamton, with just angrier people and a lot more traffic.
Yeah. And believe it or not, more Italians.
And that's true. There's a lot of Ginzos down there on the island.
Too many.
Too many. They're not. You can't have too many.
Myself, but
what happens is it's just too much sauce on the streets. Just running down the streets into the drains. But we're gonna get into Long Island. That's why I had you guys on. Before we get into that, few things I want to talk about. And well, actually, since Instacart, Pete's a big Instacart. I wish he was on to talk about it, but he talks every week about it. Cawley, you're also a big Instacarter. What's you have any stories for us and about Instacarting?
Well, I have plenty. Instacart was one of the most interesting professions I've taken on. One time, I swear to God, I delivered to a Russian spy. Like there's no other possible thing it could have been. There was a house where I thought he lived, and the instructions were no, go on this trail next to the house. And it was all the way down these woods. I had to walk with these fucking groceries all the way down. And there's this little tiny shack. It looks like, like where like Shrek could have lived or something. And you open the door, it's just this old Russian guy in a wheelchair and like just coffee beans everywhere. Weird shit. And he's just like, just leave him there. And
Long Island, they love their coffee too. That might be.
Was his last name Stalin?
No,
I think Putin. I know a Stalin from Russia. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's Joseph. I'm not sure. I
might have read about that guy in the paper once or twice.
Big name over there. We don't hear about him much in the States, but he's a big name.
It was you just meet some weird people in Instacart. It definitely, sometimes, I mean, you got to be a certain type of person you're either super old or you're just super lazy if you're ordering your groceries from there. And it was a decent time. It wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad of a gig. I mean, I know my little brother did DoorDash for a while, but when I was in college, junior year, I worked for this company, Joy Run. I think it was some startup that was literally just for Binghamton, and it was the sketchiest thing ever. I was fronting all the cash for all the orders. The prices were wrong. I was getting shorted change, and then I would try and call a number to get in touch with somebody to get my money back. And
see, I think you signed up for the wrong thing because you saw Joy Run. You're like, okay, this is a good way for me to get in shape. But then what happened was
that was my initial thought, but then it involved delivering fast food, and I was even more intrigued.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned you on the podcast a few times, and for those that haven't heard this episode, I talk about how you, and I don't mention your name, but now since you're on, how I would wake up in the morning because you and I used to live across the hall from each other, and you would have Popeyes at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Like just
It's the
insane.
hungover Sunday Popeyes though. But then I found that meme and I sent it to you, and it was like, it's not just me. There's other people who do this too.
Yeah.
You gotta be.
That's
It's a
crazy.
sin. It's
That
a sin
was
to
a
eat
wake up
fast
call
food
for
that
me.
early.
I was like, I thought that made me special, but
The
I
only
guess
thing
no,
not.
you're
special
just
you have is your
absolutely
moves.
doing it.
You have a nice set of moves on you.
Yeah, well, they're on the way out. So
Are you been working harder on that?
yeah, man. Yeah,
You
man.
have?
Been at the
I haven't
gym
seen you in a
every week.
while.
I know.
I will
know.
say, John.
Basically, I got into like this depressed funk because it's Long Island winter and COVID. So I was like, I gotta do something. Started going to the gym, feeling better.
You kind of rock the moves though. I have to say, like, if there's anyone to have, a nice pair of moves, it's you, and you do
Well, I
well.
appreciate that. I appreciate that calling.
You do well. Like, I don't think many people can rock them like you do.
Yeah, I mean, me and Colin, we were together this weekend. We were talking about the fact that you used to get some pretty good looking girls, and you turned down pretty good looking girls because of your embarrassment of your body and moves. So
Not quite that. Not quite
oh,
that.
that wasn't the reason.
No, definitely not the reason. Definitely not the
God.
reason. But nice reach. Nice reach.
Oh, but yeah. So a thing I wanted to talk about, and I haven't mentioned this story on the podcast, which I don't know how I haven't, but a good buddy of ours, we all know the story, but I wanted all of us to mutually talk about it. And so
revisit this legendary
it,
occurrence.
we all know it pretty well.
Classic.
And so our buddy, we used to live right by the Holiday Inn hotel, for those that don't know, and we would park there. And I believe our buddy had a deal with the guy that he could park there. And anyway, he ends up getting his car towed. And he wanted to talk to the manager or whatever about why his car was towed. So he went in to talk to the doorman or, the front desk person. And I believe this was a male. Yeah, that would make this story make more. So this was a male that he was talking to. And the guy's just a front desk person. Like, he doesn't know how to help out with tows and all this shit going on. So he goes in there, and if I mess up with the story, I want you guys to correct me. So he goes in and talks to the front desk guy, and he's talking to him, and he's like, I don't have a lot of money right now, and like this, whatever costs $200 is like a lot. And the kid responds by saying, "Hey, I know a way for you to make some money. Come with me." And he takes our buddy to be like, I don't know if he took him to like the Outback or to the closet or somewhere where there weren't cameras around. And he says to our friend, he says, "Yeah, like if you want, like if you send me some pictures of yourself, I'll give you some money, like $50 or $100." And our friend, I saw the money, like he was like, "Wow, like that would,
He was doing it for cheaper than that.
He was so." I don't know what the price were. I know $50 was definitely a number involved.
It was a number.
It was a number involved. And so he's
one of the favors.
He says, so the guy, our friend's like, "I don't want to send you pictures of my junk. Like, I don't want to do that." And the guy's like, "Come on, like, how about for $25? You show me it right now. Just show me a little bit." And our buddy's like, "You just want to see it for a little, like, just see it for a second?" And the kid's like, yeah, just show me it for a second.
Show me your cock.
Our buddy's like, okay. And he whips out his for a quick second, and he gets $25, and I don't think he ever talked to that kid again. But that's the story.
I mean, allegedly hasn't talked to again. I mean, he could use the money. I don't know. He might be making a few more trips back there.
Not bad. $25 for a couple seconds. I mean, that's not terrible.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
like if you think about what that averages out to an hour, that's like a solid gig right there.
And it's like you have all the leverage in that situation too. You have all the leverage.
And that's why they're trying to legalize prostitution. And honestly, if that's considered prostitution, I'm all for it. That's not bad.
That's easy though.
I mean, if
that's like a miracle job, Yeah. 1 in a million.
I mean, I don't think many women are looking for male prostitutes or gigolos. That was my nickname in high
that's
school,
fair.
by the way.
Oh,
But there's a song called Just a Gigolo by Louis Prima. Shout out Louis Prima. Anyway,
Big fan of the show.
so yeah, I mean, like, obviously, I think it's prostitution is illegal because of the sex trafficking that it could lead to and various things like that. But so in that case, I don't want it. But if it's just my friend showing the front desk man some junk and that's legal, I'm all for it.
You know,
harmless.
he
Harmless.
made some money,
Yeah. So
hard-earned money.
quick story. I just
more
wanted
ways
the
than one.
audience to know because I've never heard anything even close to that. When I first heard that story, I was in shock, and it just gets better and better as he tells it. I don't tell it as well as he does, obviously.
And for anyone that's doubting the validity of that story, it's not fake. That is 100% true.
Backed by
I couldn't, but
many sources.
You couldn't make that story up if you tried. Like, you know,
And why would you even tell people that if you're just making it up? You know,
right?
Yeah.
that's a weird thing to brag about. Yeah,
That's not something you make up. That's a real life experience.
But yeah, so I think we got that covered. One thing I wanted to mention to you guys that bothered me this week, I didn't mention it to you beforehand. So I was looking at buying this book online, and it was $40 for the book. I think it was on Amazon or something. Maybe it wasn't. And it said instead of paying $40, you can do 4 payments of $10 with interest. I'm like, if you don't have $40 to spend on a book, like, don't buy the book. I mean, there shouldn't be another option.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
payment plans for everything now.
It's wild.
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
it's not a mortgage on a
book?
house.
Who buys books anymore? By the way, what do you
Yeah,
like?
for what?
85.
There must have been a reason why I was looking at that book. It was probably some porn thing. I don't know. Some weird shit I was looking at. Because
There's
no
deeper
reason.
meaning there. There's a deeper meaning there.
that, I mean, yeah, I
Is
don't read
book
books.
code word for blow up doll? Is that what it is?
Oh, book. Does book stand for something? I don't know. I should have came up with something. But yeah, that was just something I wanted to mention to you guys. It kind of pissed me off. Like, we live in a world where you have to make payments on a $40 book. Like, if you can't make a $40 payment, you're not doing well, bud. I mean, the government's giving
Not even just allowing the payment plan option, but like now these new sketchy names of things that are offering it that I've never seen before. Like outside companies that are setting up these loans, no, not backed by anything.
Well, I
Really
didn't
sketchy. Don't
realize
like it.
people our age
Not a
are
fan.
very bad with, like, a majority of the people our age are very bad with money. Like, Griner, I know you're not, but I have friends that just like are okay just having massive credit card. They're like, oh yeah, I just shoot. Like, they'll just like they could pay off their credit card. They just like, no, I'm gonna just not pay it off this month and just
Keep
have a
spending
little,
cash.
just-
Look at the rat again.
just have interest build up on it. I'm like, what? Why? Why would you, like, they have better jobs than me and they
Yeah.
have debt on their credit card. I'm just like, how do you even get into these situations? Like, it's wild.
Yeah, it's bad down here on Long Island too. I mean, the cost of living down here is so ridiculously blown out of proportion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of my friends too, who aren't working, are just running up credit card bills and letting them sit. I'm like, are you planning on going anywhere in life?
How do you expect to buy a house? Like we're into the age where in a couple years, like, some of us will be buying houses. Like,
Yeah.
and these people have like $4,000
Credit
in
check.
debt already.
We're
Credit
not
check,
living on
not
Long
good.
Island.
Well, no. I don't think anyone's gonna be living on Long Island. I mean, how do you? I mean, you could, even if you wanted to. I would love to be able to live on Long Island. Like, we can get into this a little later, but I love Long Island. Like, I've been there multiple times to visit you guys, and it just sucks that it's literally not even fathomable to live there. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a fever dream.
Financially.
And it's only going to get more expensive.
And it's probably gotten more expensive since the pandemic because people are moving out of the city, moving into suburbs, which obviously Long Island is a suburb. I mean, even buying a house in Binghamton right now is hard because people are moving out of the city and moving up to upstate New York, which I highly don't recommend.
That shows how desperate the situation is.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought the housing market in Binghamton would be like booming right now?
Why aren't you in real estate?
I should be in real. I wish I bought a house last year if I could have done that, and I would have made 120% on that house. 100%.
You're like one of 6 people I know from Binghamton that can speak proper English.
And that's true. And My dad taught me
You
really
could be
well.
a great real estate salesman.
He's a really good dad. We'll get into him later. All right. I don't know if you guys watch the news lately. I know some of our audience probably watches the news, and Meghan Markle, who is married to Prince Harry, was on Oprah just absolutely shitting on England this week, shitting on the
Really?
Queen of England, like everyone.
She shit on the Queen?
They were shitting on like the whole royal family. That's what it's called. They were shitting on royal family, just saying like they're racist and all this shit, which I feel like we could have assumed that the royal family is racist. I mean,
yeah, they have like
Yeah, I knew
tendencies
there
from
was
like the
some stuff going on.
1700s.
I mean, how are there
I didn't
still
hear it
kings
blow
and
up the
queens?
street.
This is 2021. We have kings and queens. Isn't that like the feudal system?
Have you guys seen what happens in England when the Queen dies? Like what's gonna happen? Everything in England just stops. Businesses shut down. Like there's all these different rules. Schools close for like it's like 12 days or something ridiculous like that, where the country just stops for like a grieving period for this queen who's been, I feel like she's been 95 for 30 years now. It's just like I feel like, not to get political, but I feel like if Trump died while he was in office, they would have thrown a fucking parade.
I was just gonna say there would be parades in every major city, 100%, 100%.
And they're like they take a big hit economically too for that, and they don't have to at all. It's completely by choice.
I don't get it. I mean, she's just
Probably why we won the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, 1776. Shout out GW, George Washington. He's a big fan of the show, by the way. But
Our
Griner,
sponsors are the Minutemen.
Griner, would you bang the Queen of England?
Would I bang the Queen? No,
No.
I don't think so.
What kind of a question is that?
I know. I was
You
saying,
mean-
of course I would bang the Queen. Like, what kind of question is that? Obviously, right?
But why
Yeah,
though?
Why?
So
It's
old
not
and
for the
feeble.
looks.
Obviously not
Yeah.
for the looks. To go home to America and say,
You want it for the
"What,
rep.
not only
You
did
want
we
it for
win
the
the
rep.
war,
I get it.
but I also conquered that ass." You know what I'm saying?
That
That's
poor
the
lady.
mentality. That's the mentality.
Do you think that England uses like some kind of like, I mean, they have to just special medicine, just not available to the public to keep that girl alive? Because I feel like she has looked like she's 90 years old since like 1988.
I think that's well known that they obviously have access to every, the best of everything. So,
It's
do they have secret medicine? I don't know.
I'm saying
I know,
like fucking.
I know they don't have much tea anymore because we poured it into the fucking ocean. Shout out Paul. We actually already had an episode on that, but yeah, shout out Paul.
Tea
Revere.
party.
Yeah, we had a whole episode on Boston Tea Party. You know who was there that you guys didn't know? And I mentioned this before. So it was Paul Revere led it along with Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. But
No, I heard that. And Gronk was spiking like crates of tea right into the harbor.
It was wild.
There's a painting of that actually.
Yeah, there should be a painting of that. Is there? I feel like
There
someone
has
would
to
have
be.
made a painting of that.
It's already been done. If you've thought of it now, it's already been done.
Yeah, but shout out Gronk, big fan of the show. Another thing I wanted to. Oh wait, also I wanted to say I know Meghan Markle's probably in the news controversy. I don't know whose side you're on. She's so hot, my pee hurts when I see her. So good for Prince Harry.
He's a redhead.
She's
know?
He's a redhead. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? You're a better looking redhead than that kid. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, but I'm not. I wasn't birthed into like the biggest royal family of all time. I feel
but
like
you were
that
birthed
just.
into the collies, the cops. You guys are famous cops in the New York City area.
Well, now they're State Farm agents, so I feel like insurance and then like future King of England might be some differences there. But who knows? Maybe she likes guys whose parents work in insurance. Maybe I'll give her a call.
Well, you are a tall drink of water. You are. It's a new thing I'm calling tall people.
Drink water. That's like from 1964.
A tall drink of water. People use that in 1964. You've heard that before?
Yeah. You're
Really?
not making that up.
What if
You are
what
late
if
to
I
the
use
party on
tall
that
glass
one.
of water? I accidentally was calling people tall glass of water.
I thought they're interchangeable. I thought
Really?
they're both like, yeah. That's definitely something that my
Yeah.
grandpa would probably God rest his soul.
I took it
with
from
all
a
people.
different podcast, so it makes sense that it's also a thing that you heard of. But I've been using it, and no one said anything until now.
Well, that's what we're here for, to help you out.
Yeah, steer me straight, which I don't like being straight. People of the podcast know that.
We've known that for a while.
It's
Shout out
been in question for a
LGBTQ.
while. Would you say shout out to?
Shout out to the gays.
Oh yeah, and the Democrats. So
Big fans of the show.
yeah. Okay. So I've been watching Cobra Kai. And have you watched this show yet?
No, my dad has actually started watching it.
A little bit of it.
Shout out State Farm.
State Farm is actually a sponsor of the show. Just so for those people that don't know, State Farm sponsors us. So thank you, State Farm. And Allstate. If Allstate stands, you'll be in good hands. So Cobra
That's
Kai.
not it. That's not it at all.
Cobra Kai. I love it. I've been binging it the past. Well, you know what? I think Cobra Kai, they probably have a pretty good insurance policy, because if one of those kids gets hurt, I'm sure they have to have pretty high deductible on their insurance.
What is it? It's karate, right?
Yeah, it's karate. Well, you watch the Karate Kid, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
classic.
obviously. So
It's like the same people, right?
It's a spin-off. It's like
30 years
Fuller
later.
House. Like, Fuller House did a.
Well, that was a disaster. That show.
This is not a
hit
disaster.
a brick wall.
This is not.
It seems like it's not. It seems like it's doing well.
It's pretty good. It's definitely corny and cheesy.
Definitely a little corny.
The storyline, if you watched Karate Kid and you're a fan of it, it's great.
It's
great.
It's really good.
I actually just got on the Breaking Bad wave over this past winter.
Really?
That's late.
I'd never seen it before. I know.
Late.
I'm only late by about 5 years, probably more than that. But very good show. Except it took 2 seasons for it to get going. That was a little tedious.
I don't know if I agree with that statement. I liked it from, I think, day one on that show.
Don't get me wrong, it was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. But just, I guess, compared to how it finishes up with all the shit that happens in the last 2 episodes.
It is slow. I will.
How it
It's
starts
slow compared to the end, which is wild, obviously.
Yeah.
Walter White, whoever plays Walter White, what's it? Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah.
Bryan Cranston, yeah. He got his inspiration for Walter White from Tony Soprano. And I'll tell you what he said about it. So he said multiple times that if it wasn't for Tony Soprano, there'd be no Walter White. Because if both shows are similar in that Tony Soprano is essentially a bad guy. Like, he kills people. He's a mobster. He's a bad guy, but you root for him to win all the time. Walter White's the same way. He's a drug dealer that makes drugs, but you root for him to win. So they're like these.
And also kills people.
Right. There's these evil guys that we're rooting for. So it's quite interesting, I thought.
It's just all about, perception, I guess, just from the point of view. You could easily. Some people have said they wanted to see that show from Hank's point of view, the DEA agent, whatever, his brother-in-law.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take. I'd like to see that.
My perception of Bryan Cranston is that I think he's a cute guy, and I like to kiss his bald head. So.
But it looks just like his bald head.
Yeah. But yeah, when I'm watching that show, it kind of because there's a lot of flashbacks to the 80s, and the 80s just seem like such a great time to live. I know all of our parents grew up in the 80s, and they say it was the best time. Just things
carefree.
Yeah.
All the music was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what it is? It's social media. It just makes everyone brain dead. It gives people voices who probably shouldn't have voices. I know, power to all, right? But there's some things you just got to keep tucked away.
Yeah.
Look what just happened with that NBA guy, Miles, whatever.
Myers Leonard. Yeah, he said
dropping a K-bomb.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he said. Why would he say that?
Why that word too? That's such a bizarre choice.
Crazy.
All the slurs you could throw out there in anger, you go after the Jews.
I
We pay
know.
one.
As if they haven't had enough pain already.
Yeah,
Shout out Ori,
they've been through a
good
lot.
friend of mine. Big fan of the show. But yeah,
But I don't think any NBA player or athlete, because we saw what happened with that NASCAR guy a few years back.
mhm.
None of these guys should be on stream doing any of that kind of stuff, because that's where you get caught. That's where it comes out. You know,
And what is it enough? Like this guy, Myers Leonard, like he makes millions of dollars a year. Is it like, why are you Twitch? Like, why are you streaming your video games, bro? You make so much money, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, are you making
It's
that
just-
much on Twitch? I mean,
you're asking for it to, and because this guy growing up was probably playing Call of Duty in those COD lobbies. We all know what those COD lobbies.
yeah, they're
are
the
like.
most toxic things other than Instagram and social
The
media.
amount of hate crimes committed in a single search and destroy game is like, I feel like normal people know how it works and we just accept it. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of like the higher ups in our country
Some people
just
put
don't
some
get.
real hatred and direct a lot of bad energy into that game.
And it's not just it's everyone. Everyone gets hit with. It's the whites, the blacks, the Asians, everyone. No one's safe.
The young, the old. You got like 5-year-olds playing there. They're getting cursed out by 50-year-old men sitting on their couch.
It's consensus. If you hear a prepubescent child in that chat, everyone. That's what honestly ends racism in those games, is when a kid speaks up and then they just go after the kid.
Tear the kid apart.
Yeah, 80 seemed great. I mean, economy was booming, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't know. We don't need to get into it. It makes me kind of sad. I wish we grew up then.
No, I know.
Feel like you could say anything, do anything. I just feel like people were happier then, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I don't know. that's what I feel like.
No,
I would argue.
I feel that way too.
I would argue the 90s are also up there as far as great decades. It's basically just like the 80s, but just with better hairstyles and a lot less hair to begin with.
And was the internet a thing in the 90s or not yet?
It just started.
So porn online was all right. So that was big.
Huge.
Write
huge
that one down.
That changed up. Shout out Pornhub, big fan of the show.
Big sponsor.
Big sponsor too. They're helping us out a lot. But all right, we can finally get into it. I had you guys on because I want to talk about Long Island, and obviously you guys are from there. And first question I have for you guys is, what do you guys do growing up in Long Island? Because like a big thing for me, for example, like growing up in Binghamton, I would visit my dad in prison with my cousin and my grandma. So is that something you guys would do in Long Island? Is that a thing?
Well, not prison, but maybe,
Coney Island.
visit a few. I mean, I don't know about John, but I mean, I grew up playing sports. So most of my childhood was just going around the island playing sports, different places and whatnot. I will say on Long Island, it does have just about like everything you could want to do. You know what I mean? It's not missing anything. It's got beaches. It's got like amusement parks and stuff like that. It's got good food places. It's just everything. All of those places listed are always crowded. All of them, no matter what.
So how do people afford? Like, so it is the most populated island in probably the world or country. I don't know. How do that many people afford to live there? Like, are people just like living off paycheck to paycheck? Because how do that many people afford to live? I don't understand it.
Let John take this one because I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I'm gonna go out and say generational wealth. There's just a lot of families here that have built up towns, especially like way out on the East End. That's where like the big money is. Obviously, you got the Hamptons, you got Montauk, you got places like that. And that's all private property. There's a reason why all that stuff out there is still wineries and farmland. It's because it's literally owned by private family owners who have been there forever. And New York State can't get the rights to buy that property. They just can't. They've already moved out so far and developed out so far. But that's where a lot of the money comes from. And then obviously we're right outside Manhattan in New York City.
So you think a lot of money comes obviously a lot of people that have big time jobs in New York City are just riding the LIRR, which I want to talk about, every day
Yeah.
into
God.
the city. And
Yeah,
that's where the
I
money's
mean
coming
that's a
from.
huge thing too. People commute. They have massive jobs in the city that pay big money. They buy these houses that are ridiculously expensive, and they hardly spend any time there because they're always commuting to the city to work anyway.
Seems like an awful way of life, to be honest with you.
I did
I
that
see why
Manhattan
everyone's
commute for
moving.
one summer. It was miserable. It was miserable. I mean, if you're
I
gonna do
see
it,
why
you have
everyone's
to live
going to
closer to the
Binghamton.
city or in the city.
Yeah, everyone's moving up here. It's booming right now, Binghamton. Just
They'd
kidding.
rather take pills for vitamin D than stay on Long Island and work there. That's how bad it's getting.
Like in my mind, it's like if you want to live near beaches and have decent food, obviously the culture of New York State in general, you can't beat it. And that's why I think a lot of people live here for two reasons: is the culture, the food, like the culture, and that goes along with your food. Like you're gonna get the best Italian food, the best Spanish food, the best French food, the best every nationality you can think of. You're gonna have the best food in New York in general, like the whole state, pretty much, I would say. Like pizza, everything. And you go down to Florida where they have the beaches and the weather's way better, and um, their food is just not even comparable. Like, and their culture is just completely different. Like, it's just not, you don't have that, like those boroughs that are just like Jewish people or just Italian people or just Irish people. Like, you don't have that in Florida. It's just a big hodgepodge of Southern, like people that have been there for 300 years, like that were in the Civil War, like those type of families, along with, first generation people. Like, it's just a big mix in Florida where, and it's all together. I feel like New York is a mix, but you also have boroughs that are just segregated, not segregated, but separated.
Careful though.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. It's just like, there's a lot of culture in New York,
Yeah.
A lot of culture in New York. And it's
Um,
great. That's one thing that I love. And I'm proud to say that I grew up on Long Island, but I'm not staying here forever. I can't keep up.
Really? So I didn't realize you
Thank you.
weren't thinking of staying. Where are you thinking of moving? Because I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
I don't have any plans yet. I'm just working, saving, being miserable, and we'll get out. We'll get out eventually. That's where I'm at right now.
God,
Yeah.
that is heartbreaking.
Because I'll tell you, I
Pretty
know you
morbid.
guys probably
Pretty
thought
morbid.
I wanted to stay in Endicott or Binghamton, wherever for forever. But I've gotten the approval from my parents. You have to ask your parents if you want to move. I guess that's a thing.
I feel like you could just leave and they'd be okay.
I think you could just
Really?
pack your bag and walk out if you
My
wanted
dad
to.
said I wasn't allowed to do that, but I got the approval of probably going down to Florida in a year.
Wow.
I know.
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida is like Long Island, but just with all without any like esteem whatsoever. It is wild down there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's comparable to Long Island for sure, without that really good food and the culture that we were talking about, and lower taxes. And you could buy a really nice house, like pretty much right near a beach in Tampa, for 150,000.
Yeah, but the thing is about Florida too, is that it's all people, or a lot of it anyways, people who go to New York and Florida. It's like people from New York and the New York City area and Long Island, everybody has a place in Florida and they go back and forth.
And I think that culture that we're talking about, I think it's going down there slowly because so many people, like our families, are like,
Nobody can keep up with it here.
fuck this. Why are we paying out the ass to live in the state? I mean, granted, our families are all here. So like, obviously want to see our families, but it hits a point where financially you can have the same house for a fourth the price, a fourth the taxes, and whatnot. What's the point of living here anymore? Like, I don't think the governor and all these people, like, I don't think they understand what they are doing to the state. They're ruining one of the best states ever, in my opinion.
Because it just costs so much money to run it. It's ridiculous.
Right. I mean, like obviously Binghamton is not as expensive as Long Island, but the taxes, like if I were to go buy a house right now, the taxes would be almost as much as the mortgage. That's how much the taxes are a month. Like, it doesn't make any sense. The state, there's income tax. Other states just don't have a state income tax. They make money doing other things. It's unbelievable. But anyway, did you guys ever hear about the pre-Salem witch hunt in the Hamptons?
What a segue.
Yeah. Hard stop.
Is that something you guys learned about or no? I kind of read about it briefly, but if it's not something you guys
Salem witch hunt, like the whole witch crisis thing.
pre-Salem,
Like,
but I guess it happened in the Hamptons. Is that
the
something you
witch
guys learned
trials and
about?
everything.
Yeah. Is that
well,
not a thing you
people
guys learned
were
about?
fucking nuts in the 1600s. That's got to be, or was it like 2 weeks ago?
Pre-Salem, so yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So people were fucking nuts back then. They would kill anyone for just about anything. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
if you sneezed and didn't like wipe your nose properly, you're getting lynched. Like,
Well, that's happening again. They're bringing that back because of COVID. So people that
oh
are
my
sneezing
God.
outside are getting fucking.
Thanks, Biden.
Thanks, Obama. But yeah, so
what
I don't know if you
about
guys
these-
heard about that.
This was in the Hamptons.
Apparently, I was like, I just looked up a few things. Apparently there was witch trials in the Hamptons, and but I guess if it's pre-Salem, it's so long ago. I don't know.
Could
So
be
I
made
don't-
up.
I wasn't there for it.
You
just
weren't,
being honest.
because a
but-
lot of the witches, they're fans of the show.
Shout out witchcraft. So like, what would they get? Like, what would be the reasoning? Like, how would you get caught as a witch? Were you like doing something like a little suspect? Were you just,
I
is it
think
just like
I think
someone
anal.
didn't like you?
I think anal back then was not looked at as highly as it is now, and if they got whiff of it, no pun intended.
Is that actually the case, or is
No,
that just
we're
complete-
doing no facts here. We're no facts.
Well, but like back then, I feel like you could just accuse anyone. Like, oh, fucking Deborah over here is being a fucking bitch. I'm just gonna say she's a witch, and everyone's gonna believe me, and she's gonna get
Yeah.
burned at the stake. You know what I mean? Wild times. I feel like human life was valued so little back then. It was just like, who gives a shit?
And now we value it too much,
That's. I mean, I might disagree with you on that one. That's a hot take.
Oh, sorry.
What we value too much is dyeing our hair and like blue-haired people. That's
I dyed my hair in third grade
Jim
blonde.
frosted tips.
I had like frosted tips, but I even
Yeah.
one time the lady's like, "You want to just like do your whole
know,
top
if
blonde?"
I saw you with frosted tips, I'd probably burn you at the stake also.
Well, that's
So,
when they should have known that I was turning to the other side. So,
I knew it the second I met you.
Yeah, well, by then it was just everyone knew. So, anyway, I guess I guess that was happening in the Hamptons. Did you guys know and I want to talk about the LIRR. Do you guys have any wild LIRR stories? Because it is the busiest rail road in North America.
Is it really?
It is. Yeah.
Wow. I would have never guessed that, but I guess it makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I do.
Let me
I
hear
do.
it.
All right. So you got the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium. Last year it was Wake Forest versus Michigan State pre-COVID. Great time. I went with one of my buddies who went to school at Wake Forest. And we take the LIRR in 8:30 in the morning. I can't even tell you how many people just get on that train with brown paper bags and cans as it is. Everyone's always just boozing. And it's like a 40, like the longest ride is to Manhattan. And it takes about an hour and 15 minutes. And the amount of empty cans that pile up there is great. So whatever, we were boozing, get to the Pinstripe Bowl, long day. Let's skip ahead to 3 in the morning and we're leaving Manhattan. Like we left the Pinstripe Bowl, get back on the train. It was the last one leaving at 3:30 in the morning. Had to sprint from the middle Manhattan, get on the train, passed out on the train, woke up at the end of the rail line, which was like 30 minutes past our house, had to call an Uber, get home. But long story short, people are sleeping on those trains on a regular basis. That's a home.
Like
to
homeless people.
They just ride it back and forth all the time. And they make their little spot on there. It gets sketchy. You got to be careful. You got to watch your
what were you
tires
gonna
on
say?
that train.
I once saw a homeless couple having sex on that train. I'm not even joking.
Shut up.
I'm not kidding.
Shut up.
Pretty
So-
dirty line.
I'm not exaggerating this. So I wasn't on the train, but it was right after I got off the LIRR. I think I went to like a Billy Joel concert. Big fan of the show, by the way. And so I get off the train and I'm going to my car, and I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we look back, and I swear to God,
She was hot.
just leave her out of this. I swear to God, there's this fucking couple, and you can tell because they got the baggy jackets, they got the fucking, they got that look. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like drugged out people having sex. Probably not. It'd be weird if you did. But they're just fucking on the
Pretty
train.
common occurrence down here.
No fucks given. And it was the it was the sloppiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was in broad daylight too, right?
No, it was nighttime. It was like 11 o'clock, believe it or not. It was 2 o'clock and there's families around, John. What do you
2
think?
o'clock in the afternoon. 2 homeless people going at it.
It was just fucking like, it's fucking
And they say New York City's dead. I mean,
that's the culture right there.
that's the culture I mean, you don't get that in Florida. I mean, you might get cousins banging, but you don't get homeless people banging in the subway.
True.
Oh man.
That's amazing. Like, I've never heard of anything like that in my life. That is
And
unbelievable.
honestly, I bet I'm not the only one who's seen something like that. Because like John was saying, it's a home for people, you know? You go out, you do your thing, and then you go back home to your, 11:44 train to Port Jeff. And
It's
you
not just
spend the
on
night
the
there.
trains either. It's underneath the platforms. They build
Yeah.
little structures and cardboard things. And,
Well,
I mean,
Penn
I
Station
respect the effort they do,
is
but it's like you're gonna
Penn
look like
Station is one of the grossest places on the planet.
yeah. And there's
There's
always
just-
cops standing there with MP5s on every corner.
MP5s?
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
machine guns.
There was a new addition over the past like 2 years. I started to see it pop up more, but now it's every single corner. You got like U.S. Marine or cops just standing there fully armed.
And then it's a homeless person right next to them.
Yeah, like just hanging out. They're just chatting.
So like, I get what you're saying, Colin, with the homeless person's night. Like, so here's what, like a normal night for us for a date night would be: we pick a girl up, we take her to dinner, maybe we see a show, and then we take her back to our room, my room. Shout out my room.
Shout out my room.
Whatever. So their night,
Sponsored.
that's for just the end of the night. So they went, their night consisted of, okay, let's go to that garbage can and get dinner. I just saw a guy from Dunkin' Donuts leave half his sandwich in there. There's our dinner. Let's go watch that one guy playing the drums by Yankee Stadium. That'll be our show for the night. And then we'll head back to the subway and have a rendezvous in the sack.
Suck some dick for crack. I mean, if they love each other, let them do what they want. You know what I mean?
Can't fight
There's
love.
just,
Love is
Can't
love.
fight it.
Love is love.
Yeah,
that's
John
what
loves his
this
moves.
show's all about.
Shout out love.
Hello, operator.
So we actually this is the quickest episode ever. I can't believe it's already almost time, but we got a couple more minutes. I want to talk about before we go. We got like 3-4 minutes. Tell me about Fire Island, because my uncle tells me I'd love it there because he thinks I'm gay, which he's right.
Oh, well, there's one town where you'd fit right in.
Don't walk too far down the beach because it just like blends together. There's like where all the college kids and young adult parties are going on. People are like, there's like different towns, right? One of them is for the younger crowd. Then there's literally one that's meant for gay people.
So
Yeah, my mom accidentally took me there one time.
And it's a
when I was,
nude
like,
beach too.
3 years old.
really?
Yeah, I was just,
Nude beach,
I was in
too.
a stroller. There's a
The
nude
whole
beach
beach.
there?
Yeah. So if you walk too far down one end of Fire Island and you get to the wrong town, because you could just walk the whole thing. It'll take a while, but it's all connected. You just see meat hanging out everywhere.
Yeah,
You
you're right.
can't really put up a sign that says,
You
like,
got to get there,
warning.
Alec, man.
I don't know why I'm thinking about moving to
You're
Florida.
missing out.
I just got to get a better job and move down to fucking Fire Island. I mean,
You're missing out.
That's the culture you need right there, my
the
friend.
culture I'm talking about. You don't get that anywhere.
But yeah, I was in a stroller. I was 3 years old, and like John said, you can't have really like a sign that says like, oh, if you're gay, come on in. So me and my mom, I was in a stroller. She's walking me down, and then all of a sudden, she's looking around. She sees, like a few guys in like some short denim shorts and some crop tops, and little suspect activity going on. And she was like, I just brought my 3-year-old child into the gay town. So that was a quick U-turn because I could become gay later on, who knows? But at the time, it wasn't a great place to bring a kid. I don't think anyone would argue that.
I mean, yeah, I don't even know. I don't have anything like it here. I mean, we had a bar called Merlin's, I think, and they wouldn't let me in because I was only 16. So I don't know.
There's a bar called Squiggy's right across the street from me that you might love.
Squiggies. Shout out Squiggies. They're a big fan of the show.
Big sponsor.
Good sponsor. But Grinder, you got anything about Fire Island, and then we could wrap it up.
No, not necessarily. Just full of rich people too.
Your
Everybody's just
brother,
rich.
I know your brother. When I last visited you, he went to Fire Island that day. And
Yeah,
had a
and that's the thing
blast.
too. You make a day trip out of it, and you spend so much money when you go there because literally you go 10 miles across the water. I think it's only 3 miles across the Great South Bay, and you're at Fire Island. Everything is like 2.5 times the price of what it would be at a gas station right across the
Really?
water because you can't do anything else.
Right.
You're on the other
that
side of the
makes
island. What are
sense.
you gonna do? Take a boat back to go buy cigarettes?
That makes sense. So like a drink, what's a drink cost? Like
Drink cost
a Red Bull vodka.
a Rebel vodka like $19.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh my god.
$19.
That is fucking nuts.
Any little grocery store, or you go to get a sandwich or a slice of pizza. No, normally slice of pizza is like what, $2.50, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like $4, $5 for one slice of pizza.
I'm
So
just-
everyone just loads up their bags with snacks and stuff, goes for the day, comes home wasted, and figures it out.
Alec, you got to get your money up if you're trying to go there.
I
Yeah,
would
good luck.
never have that much money. I don't know how I could physically ever have that much money.
You just gotta find an older gay man who will
You
take
just walk right over to the Holiday Inn and you start, flashing some meat.
Hey, you got a place on Fire
full
Island?
circle. Full
circle.
circle. Are there any Holiday Inns down at Fire Island?
Plenty.
But yeah, great episode. I can't believe it. That was the quickest episode I think we got. I didn't even hit any of the top. Like I didn't hit most of the Long Island stuff, which I thought might happen. But thanks guys for coming on.
Yeah, no doubt.
Last, I hope we can have you on again. That was fun. So
Anytime.
But yeah, this is Bringing the Heat with Alec and Pete. No Pete, but whatever. And we'll talk to you. Have a nice weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
This one's for the Queen of England.